Thank you for joining me. I am Tamara Jean, your soul architect and wellness astrologer here on High Vibe TV. And I have for you this beautiful silver dragon on Starway Healing. It is encoded with 852 hertz, as that is the solfeggio frequency of returning to divine order or spiritual order. It's funny, right? As I said that, I got the high pitched tone in my left ear, which really confirms that. I'm sure many of you, as we're approaching solstice this Friday, are feeling it's such an interesting space. There is, of course, the astrological landscape being a heavy contributor to what we're feeling as far as now Mars in Virgo and making that square to Uranus and sextiling Jupiter, that there is this whole where we are in a sacred pause yet, and know that we need to be and receive the informations. We're being recoded, and we're going through a refinement process, right? In many different ways and in many different layers. And so, yet at the same time, right, there is this need for efficiency, and of course wanting to take efficient action, right, and organize and definitely get things done. I mean, there is kind of a little bit of a workaholic vibe now that Mars is in Virgo, but making, I think, with that sextile to Jupiter, and Jupiter being in Cancer, with that kind of nourishment piece, right? So that there is a, trying to balance things, and it supports that intuitive healing. We're going through such deep healing, and so to really let your emotional intuition be a guide in this, really honoring where you're at. I mean, that's what I had to do. I know it's been like a week since I've been on here with new content, and I honestly was not physically feeling well, which then does impact, right, my mental and emotional bodies too. I have Virgo rising, and I very much in my North Node is in the 6th house, so it's very much with service, and I feel, and like to feel productive and to be of service and to help others. And but my Pluto's in Virgo too, so I'm right, there's a whole redoing, and had the South Node, of course, cross over my Pluto, which felt like it was sitting there forever. There's just we're reframing, we are recoding, we are clearing and healing, right? And it's all of that in purpose of this remembrance, this soul remembrance that is such a huge theme right now, and especially with the upcoming solstice. And we also have, in the current human design transit, in that energetic landscape, we've got the sun in gate 12 in the 5 line, and the earth is grounding that energy in gate 11. So this is helping us to wait for that right moment to express ourselves. And because we can be where we really want to share all the things, we want to share everything that's going on with us, and that's not always, or you have some new ideas, right, or projects, especially Mars now being in the sacral center, because it just moved into gate 59. It's in the 1 line right now, and in that gate of intimacy. So there is this, that's a very fertile gate, right? Very much of your natural life force and magnetism, right? And it's not just about like sexuality, like sexual intimacy, right? That it can be a part of it, but also in just your creation and your creative energy, and you know, having this urge for creative projects, and where you do start like seeding and magnetizing the right opportunities and people, right? And that's kind of where, right, all of the planetary bodies and energies are assisting in us navigating that energy. Um, and so, where it's not always wise to share, and many like spiritual teachers have said this, where you don't share all of that, you know, out loud, um, you know, when it, while it's in, let's say, while it's being born and while it's growing and you're nourishing it, uh, and then until it comes into fruition or manifestation, um, that there is a, uh, it's so funny. I keep hearing like the word secret. And it is kind of like keeping that for yourself. It's very much when, you know, a couple has a brand new baby and you don't take the newborn out right away, right? You spend time um, as the family unit, and to really have that connection. And that's where that the energy with Mars sextiling Jupiter right now is, it is expressing that in like the family dynamic and the healing, um, and the growth really does come from listening and that self-trust too, right? So that's kind of all part of this. And now we have in the current human design transit, and I saw this a few days ago when I was going to film, and I was just like, my energy was super low, and I'm like, I'm just going to have to really lean into this sacred pause myself. um, and I saw that the nodes had changed gates. So now we have the North Node in the Motion Center in gate 22, and that is the gate of grace. And so we're really growing into, you know, you can think about um, the king or queen, when they're just like, that grace exudes from that, a good king or queen, where it just really exudes from them. And really being mindful, right? One that doesn't just lash out. Like, you gotta watch the emotions. So there's a learning curve too, right? With the emotional intelligence of when you speak something and when you don't. And that it, especially for those that are like emotionals, where you ride the emotional wave and then return back to center, back to that neutral space, and then, right, you make the decision, or you gain the clarity, right? So when you are clear, then your environment is clear. And that's kind of how I see in with that. There is, it's with so much that is coming to the surface, there's also a lot happening in dream time. A lot of deep work, things being released. And I know I did talk about this last time, and where you may not be remembering everything or nothing from dream time. There's a lot of integration, right, with all of the recoding that is happening. And as I've been seeing and tuning into the energy, I was tuning in early this morning, and all of the because the sun, right, has been very, very active again. And so lots of those geomagnetic storms, and of course, the solar flares and winds, and coronal holes, right, all of that. And I'm seeing those light frequencies. And of course, it's an alignment leading up to the solstice. As I've known, there's going to be very high frequency solar code activation in our field, and therefore in within us, right? So there's going to be a lot of movement of things when we approach solstice, when we cross that threshold. But for right now, having all of those being carried through the storms and the flares and all of that, and it's been breaking away, dissolving the distorted layers, including the earth. So, her more natural cycles and rhythms, right, which the current human design has also been supporting in us, in that return to our natural rhythm, our divine rhythm within. See, there's so much with the 852 hertz in that return to spiritual or divine order, right? And so, right, that beginning to be experienced as the distorted layers, which include false light layers, false light matrices, and also I was seeing any distorted AI overlays. And right, and I'm not saying AI is bad, I'm just saying any of the distorted AI overlays that's included in that, as well as the inversion overlays. So all of that is being, you can imagine that each geomagnetic activity, the flares, the very intense flares happening, and that being carried like on the solar winds, and when it's like hitting all of this on the planet, imagine that it is breaking up, helping to dissolve all of that has been surrounding the earth for a very long time, and then therefore us as well. And we have the south node is now in the mind. So it went from the emotion center in that conflict resolution gate to gate 47 in the mind, which is realization. So this is with the thinking, a very, someone who thinks a lot and wants to solve, and work out life's puzzle. And definitely a problem solver, right? A born problem solver. And that's what we have been doing, right? In like thinking our way out of and through everything. And we know that has been something of reframing now for quite some time, with all of the energies that have been assisting that process for a number of years. And we're still practicing that and working through that. And from all of that conditioning and programming of the doing, right? And that's kind of like this whole with now Mars in Virgo, find it very, it's so amazing, and squaring Uranus at that 29 degrees in Taurus. So definitely can feel this. And there's you know, some tension sparked there. But I always see it as like creative tension. And it's really sparking it between embodied precision, right? We're really learning to, in remembering our frequency and being able to project that with precision. And right, and revolutionary shifts, and with it being in Virgo, that includes, right, the nervous system, obviously how we're digesting things, transforming things, the physical body, and healing systems. And so that all of that condition and programming of the doing, right? So really learning and beginning to see your behavioral patterns and how you do things. It's like I had to consciously work with myself and like, it's okay, right? And also then to calm my nervous system. Like, it's okay to honor this and, right, honor your process, honor your energy and your body and where you are at, and getting into those, right, and shifting the rhythms, right? And this is, there is this friction, but it is helping us to make quantum leaps in this experience right now, and into a more balanced way, right? So that's what I feel like with the South Node in that gate 47 in the mind, in the 6th line. So there is, like, it's in there, your knowledge, right? That wisdom, it's in there, and it's being able to tune into and remember, right, the potency of your frequency in that balanced state. So there's a story associated with gate 47 of Archimedes, right, the great mathematician, and trying to figure out the weight of the king's crown, that is gold crown, and had to, like, went and drew a bath and relaxed and then, like, then it came to him. And right, and that's where that whole eureka comes from. And so relaxation is your key to breakthroughs in this particular gate. So it is taking that pause. So being in this sacred pause and allowing the sacred pause, and it can be very uncomfortable, whether it's like personally or in your business, you know, all the different areas can be uncomfortable. Doesn't mean like sit and do nothing, you know, it certainly does not mean that, but it is like in a balanced flow. And Uranus is still in gate 8 in the throat. So we're wanting to, now in the 5 line. So we're wanting to make a practical contribution, which serves with, you know, Mars and Virgo very well. And Jupiter is still in gate 15 in the self-center of extremes, through the 4 line. So this is leading in your alignment by your inner timing, right? So all of this is your body, your creative expression, your intuition, right? Your purpose. All of these are going through refinement currently. So give yourself some space. What was that came through? Space and grace. Give yourself and others space and grace. Right? There's a lot of intensity in the world right now, and a lot going on in the collective. And you all know that the greatest, right? It is most, when you are standing in your sovereignty, oh my gosh, I cannot speak, sovereignty and your truth, and it does not, like, the potency doesn't come from screaming out in the streets, right? It comes from that sacred pause. It comes from the stillness within, and the magnitude of which that you can impact when that is concentrated power transmitting from you is it is very, very powerful and impactful. We have petitgrain. This is the oil of ancestry, and so it is and it's about independence and that you have the right to choose. And so it is like, thank you, right? And this goes back to that we're not here to fix, right? And so to stop trying to fix an old system, and with that, we're here to harmonize. And right, this is a new chapter that begins with us. And there's so much ancestral lineage, karmic patterns that we've all been working through for quite some time. And we're still in that releasing and breaking those cycles, because it goes deep, really, really deep. And it's what, oh, got a couple here. So it is shifting and like, thank you. And now, right, moving forward in the new. We have dill, which is the oil of learning, and lavender, which is about balance, oil of communication. So like I said, we are learning, right? We're remembering. In our remembrance, we're going to honor the past. Thank you. And right, and we want to communicate with clarity and confidence, right? We're going to be very strong in our, so you can throw some birch in there, which is going to help strengthen your foundation and feel that support in following your own path. And let's see what we've got. The Gateway of Light Activation Oracle. Lots of activations that are happening. You may be just all over, from heart and crown and sacral and solar plexus. There's a lot. Shambhala initiations, right? Very much of entering into initiations and crossing thresholds. And it can be like one after the other right now in this energy. And this is like retreating to recharge, trusting in the process and your dharma. So as I said, this is a sacred merging happening between your body, your creative expression, and your divine mission, right? So this refinement that is taking place in this recoding of your blueprint and the codex, soul codex is how I describe it. It is really getting an upgrade. So, right, this 852 with this beautiful silver dragon is coded for spiritual elevation, right? So that there's an ascension process. You can look at it as happening in the body, with the descension of the high frequencies being able to penetrate in this level of density and into our energy body and then transmit into the physical body, right? So there is that, ascension, descension simultaneously taking place. So you can really be feeling that too. So just, continuing to, right, growth in self-trust and your intuitive discernment, but really take that pause to gain the clarity for that crown chakra upgrade, or as I call it, the portal. Maybe I'll teach on here about that, of how the chakratic system, it's evolved to a portal system. And I've redone the system. And so divine connection, holy experiences, and miraculous energy. I love that. Beautiful dove. So receiving too lots of downloads, and you do get a spiritual connection, obviously, with the 852 hertz, I would say. Also incorporate 963 hertz in keeping that your connection to the divine, because that's what is like most important to, right, to source consciousness and to your soul and God within you. That is the most important connection. And so you can also have these really powerful experiences, right? The card says holy experiences. So very deep. And as you go through this remembrance process, and of course, I will dive deeper into that as I return here this Friday on solstice, and the sun will be moving into Cancer. So in Cancer season, I'm Cancer, so I like Cancer season. I know others that are like, oh my gosh, Cancer season, but I love it. All right, so have a wonderful next couple of days, and I'll see you back here on solstice.